Here in Tampa, Florida, covering the GOP convention, here with the head of the FRC, Family Research Council, Tony Perkins. Mr. Perkins, good to see you, sir.
Cameron, good to be with you.
Please tell me the latest, the update on the security guard who was shot.
Well, unfortunately, he had a kind of a setback. Had to go back into the hospital this weekend, develop some blood clots, and as a kind of a side effect of the trauma that he received from the gunshot. But hopefully he's going to make a full recovery, and eager to have him back.
Mr. Perkins, after that happened, you came out for the changing of the gun laws in D.C. What were your thoughts on gun laws before this happened, and did they change because of the shooting?
Well, they didn't change. I'm a strong advocate of the Second Amendment. I spent 10 years as a police officer. Strong advocate of citizens, law-abiding citizens, to be able to protect themselves. And the District of Columbia has dragged their feet on a significant court case, the Heller case, which made it clear that just because you live in the District of Columbia doesn't mean that you lose your Second Amendment right. And this is a case that, clearly pinpoints the problem. Gun laws do not stop criminals. What they do is they stop law-abiding citizens from being able to protect themselves. Now, fortunately, we had the heroic actions of Leo Johnson, who stepped in, and what the FBI has even told me, who was investigating this, spared a lot of lives. This guy was intent on killing a number of people, and we would have been helpless to defend against him, other than just trying to overpower him. And of course, Leo was successful in that, but it took a gunshot in the process.
Mr. Perkins, I don't know if you follow Emily Miller in the Washington Times. She had a story about her quest just to get a gun in Washington, D.C. And the steps, I think it was 17 steps at the time. Her stories and talking to the D.C. City Council have now made it down to 11, but it's still such a burdensome process. It's not. It doesn't seem to us to be the intent of Heller.
No, and I've talked to several people who have tried to go through the process to possess a gun in a law-abiding fashion, and the hoops are set so high, just to basically make people give up in the process.
What role do you think gun owners will play in this election?
Well, I hope they'll play a significant role, because I think we know that this administration is hostile toward not just our freedom of speech, which they are, and our freedom of religion, but I see also the Second Amendment, our right to hold and bear arms. Because look, the Second Amendment is not about hunting turkeys. It's about being able to defend our rights if it ever comes down to it, and defend our homes. Look, every American, I believe, has a right to live securely in their home, and if they choose to possess a gun in order to secure the freedom and the security of their home, then they ought to be able to do that.
We are in radio right now. We're one floor away from every network, and you made it a point and a lot of people in the conservative blogosphere and us as well, that if this had happened, if someone went and shot up a liberal organization, the news coverage would have been much different. We saw stories that some of the major news networks didn't even get to the story for hours. The double standard when it comes to that is tragic.
Well, obviously, in the hours afterwards, I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to the media. But about 72 hours later, after getting the reports and seeing the coverage, yeah, it was alarming. Here's the bottom line: you had someone who was an activist in a gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender organization. He had volunteered in an activist organization there in D.C. He comes into an organization that holds to Judeo-Christian values, that supports traditional marriage. He comes in with the intent to kill several people. He has 15 Chick-fil-A sandwiches, which supposedly he was going to throw at the feet of his victims. Now, let's reverse that. You had a Baptist Sunday school teacher that goes into a gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender organization and shoots somebody. We would still be hearing about it in the news. There's no question there's a double standard. In fact, some, even in the media, like CNN, we're trying to rationalize this because people are taking a stand for traditional values. The media is pathetic on this, and I think Americans need to realize that the media is controlling what goes out. Fortunately, you have alternative forms of media. You have talk radio, you have venues like this where you can get the information out. But if anything, this has underscored how you can't trust the mainstream media.
Let's talk about the Evangelical Vote in 2012. How important is that?
I think it's as important this year as it's ever been. I think when you look at this election is going to be a base election. That's what President Obama is doing. He is appealing to his base, running hard to the left to get them energized and mobilized. I think the Republicans are going to have to do the same. They're going to have to mobilize and energize the base of the party to vote. It's, the understanding is the base, when they're energized and enthused, regardless of which side, they draw people in. You don't draw people who are disconnected in a vacuum. You do it by creating enthusiasm at the base. That's why I think it's going to be important for the Republican Party to reach out to those core conservative voting, evangelical, social conservatives that are out there.
We hear the phrase war and religion bandied about. Do you think there is a war in religion right now?
Well, there's certainly hostility toward religion. We've seen from this administration the mandate, the health care mandate as it pertains to contraception, abortifacients, sterilization. I mean, that is clearly, when you look at the teaching of the Catholic Church, that is an attack on the core tenets of their faith, which says we can't do this. And to force them to accommodate and pay for that is unbelievable. And so, yes, there's clearly an increase in the hostility toward religion. You look in the military and what's happened there under this administration, where chaplains are being silenced, their sermons are being monitored, they're being coerced into doing same-sex unions. So, there is an environment of hostility toward religion in this country, in a large part created by the policies of this administration.
You mentioned Judeo-Christian values. If you look at foreign policy, this president is also very hostile to Israel. Our relationship with Israel has never been at a lower point, I would say, in recent memory. Israel being our strongest ally in the Middle East, and considering what's going on over there right now, they need us and we need them more than ever. What would a Romney-Ryan administration do to secure Israel and to restore that relationship?
I think they will find a very strong ally in a Romney-Ryan administration. It wouldn't take much to improve the current relationship that we have. I was in Israel last fall. A lot of concern among their leaders. I met with the prime minister over there, and of course they've been reaching out to evangelicals because that's really their strongest base of support here in the United States. And I have every confidence that a President Romney and a Vice President Paul Ryan will reach out and reestablish those relationships with Israel, which are important for us in many, many ways.
Tony Perkins, head of the Family Research Council. Thanks for your time, sir, and our continued prayers to your brave security guard, and all our viewers and our listeners wish them all the best.
Thank you so much. Good to be with you.